Escape from Tarkov is a big deal, and as many game projects, Tarkov has lots of its advantages and disadvantages. Today, we'll talk about the bright side of the game, why Tarkov is loved, and why BattleState Games is not really an evil corp. In every such video or review of Tarkov, they sing odes to weapons and customization, and it's true. It's just impossible to miss these points, but let's briefly recap. Almost every Tarkov update brings new weapons, yet not all of them change meta, and some of them even remain a useless metal stick. But all of them have one thing in common. Every gun in Escape from Tarkov is made on an insane level of detail. Do we really need an actual rendered model of a bullet in the chamber, right? Nobody can see it anyway. However, the BSG developers got a different opinion on this. In other usual shooters, weapons are just tools. But Tarkov rethinks this concept and makes weapons an object of visual aesthetics. The choice of weaponry is limited only by player imagination. This is where deep customization comes into play, which some even call gun porn. It may seem to be enough just to attach a silencer, flashlight, and a scope to make your rifle look pretty tactical. But Tarkov took this to a new level. Gas blocks, handguards, eye cups for optics, barrels of different lengths, grips, receivers. Sometimes even trigger can be changed. The list is very extensive. Many people, of course, will prefer stats over aesthetics by getting all modules to minimize recoil and losing any individuality in weapon build. But anyways, game lets you do whatever you want. It allows players to express their tactical or even crazy wishes. There are plenty of screenshots and videos of cursed weapon builds. Gun porn won the hearts of the community. Today it seems usual. Really, what modern FPS doesn't have customizable weapons? However, in 2016, industry was on a completely lower level. We haven't even mentioned insane number of different types and calibers of ammo. In EFT, choosing specific weapons, ammo, and gear changes the entire gameplay. PS bullets work differently from AP ones. Some magazines can be filled with different calibers sometimes. And it is realistic. Each cartridge has many parameters of influence on damage, recoil, misfire chance, barrel heating, and so on. All these parameters are different for each type of ammo, and remember, there are more than 150 of them in the game. In general, developers' love for weapons is limitless. Another amazing feature of Escape from Tarkov is its setting and atmosphere. This is why the game is being loved even more from post-Soviet countries. The locations really give off a powerful vibe of post-Soviet and modern Russian sites. Locations in EFT is another special philosophy of developers. Other realistic shooters do not give such a priority to location details. Houses and streets are just empty. But in Tarkov, absolutely every square meter is made with lots of attention. In some places, you can imagine a whole story based on the objects that you see. Such small stories give locations its soul, personality, local flavor in the architecture, as well as in graffiti, store signs, abandoned buildings, and cars. And all these empty apartments look so believable. Speaking of the most ambitious location, Streets of Tarkov, BSG simply has no competitors here. The streets are several levels above any map in games of this genre. Tarkov combines two real cities, Moscow and St. Petersburg, and turning them into one was such a winning idea. As a result, Streets of Tarkov is one of the best locations in the whole gaming industry. Small details create big masterpiece, unique atmosphere of hopelessness, where the player has to face brutal reality. Even when there are balance issues, but anyways, Tarkov has no mercy for players. Any random single bullet can send you to the main menu. The game stays as principled as possible. No stupid skins and cosmetics, well, no pay to win, no premium accounts or battle passes. There is nothing to take you out of your immersion. There are bonuses of different game editions, but most of them are just loot which you can lose in the very first raid. Even with the cheapest edition, large stash and bigger secure container can be accessed just by doing tasks. This is all on top of the local flavor and the scavs that populate all the Tarkov. Scavs swear, exchange phrases with each other or with the player, and you feel that very Russian mentality. And there are no translations. All scavs, as well as Bear PMCs, speak only Russian, as well as Western USEC mercs speak only English.
You're going down for all this shit!
По-русски говорит, что там несет.
Да сдохни ты уже там!
Земляк, мы не хотим стрелять, мы просто наблюдаем.
Developers specially did no localization, and that's right in that place. Just remember Stalker or Metro series with English dub, or just imagine how Red Dead Redemption could look in Russia or Chinese. Pretty weird, huh? But did that make it worse for non-Russian speaking community? We doubt it. Majority of Tarkov players don't speak Russian, but still enjoy listening to voice lines. They feel natural, and you can have fun guessing what scavs are trying to tell. Sadly, there are few exceptions.
I can see the enemy. Are you nuts? What the hell? I'm hurt.
Bears, give up!
However, the pleasure in Tarkov can be quickly replaced by fear and adrenaline. No similar game brings as much emotions in one session as Tarkov does. The game literally makes you fear for your inventory as if a real life is for that matter. And even after hundreds and thousands of hours, players can still feel the same range of emotions as before, even though they know Tarkov much better. BSG created a hazardous environment where players have to take extreme risks just to survive. There is no 100% success formula, and there is always randomness element. What makes Tarkov so appealing? That feeling of high risks, where everything is at stake for the sake of a small chance. Just a chance, not a guaranteed victory. There could be enemy around every corner. The entire environment is against you. There's no time to catch your breath. If you want to survive in raids, you have to stay focused, even if your backpack is empty and the quest left unfinished, but you escaped. Even if not always with your arms and legs intact, but you've survived. You've already won.
Ну что, неплохой день, господа.
Tarkov is an epic generator for insane variety of situations. Any new raid is randomized by a large number of factors. You may meet an enemy group of players or a single camper, and while running away, you'll run right into a bunch of scavs, and then a sudden airplane will airdrop a cargo on your heads, and again you're surrounded and have to fight. And let's remember other AI factions, raiders, rouges, bosses, and cultists. And you've already run into a minefield or forgot to take medicine on the raid. And all this in an endless variation of combinations. Tarkov's rule of everything or nothing is multiplied by whole randomness, human factor, and huge amount of content. Tasks, skills, weapon mastering, trading, and thousands of items. Tarkov community is something special. You can find a fair amount of criticism directed to developers and many discussions within the community. However, when it comes to play and helping newcomers, all negativity disappears. First of all, Tarkov even has its own Sherpas program. A group of kind and experienced players who are always on the line, ready to explain even the most obvious mechanics. And on the rest of the media resources, new players are not being hated, and there is many people to help. Everyone remembers that they were the same newbies once. Someone in the previous wipe, someone a couple of years ago, and someone from the earliest alpha builds. By the way, are there many alpha testers among us? Don't be shy to tell us when you started playing in the comments. But not only Sherpas, but also content creators. They post countless amount of guides on YouTube every day, sorting out stuff about the game. Some teach how to loot, some show how to do tasks, and some just entertain us. And don't forget about many websites with tons of info about the game. Such care is understandable when you know all the cruelty of the game. The main rule of Tarkov is that there are no rules. One time, you are asked to be spared, saying, "I'm a newbie, I just bought the game." And in a second, you get head eyes by the most rare AP bullet. And other times, you see the first levels on the opponent's dog tag, and your conscience makes you carefully drop his cap and PM into bushes, hoping that he realized how to ensure his loot. Sometimes there is still cooperation with other players, and here, the VoIP helps. Often, though, you just yell something swear at each other. Tarkov can easily be compared to a huge money pyramid. A friend invites you, teaches you, and then when you start to like it, you invite your friends. And then goes the chain reaction, hence the popularity, and the game is really addictive. We can have different opinions on official BSG streams with Nikita Buyanov, but when we look at other games of such scale, we won't see any developers being so close to their audience as BSG, especially when they discuss their project in a really informal manner. According to old developers' diaries, in the beginning, Tarkov was a small but ambitious project. It does not seem to be a game for the sake of getting a quick profit. How's all this animations, sound design, level details, and so on? These things are done with high quality with lots of love added into it. To be honest, there are still bugs, optimization, and server issues with a few other horrors of Tarkov. But it's a matter of technique errors, but we'll definitely talk about them in the upcoming video. Speaking of difficulties, it is worth noting that Tarkov is made on the engine of mobile games and cheap indie horrors. But Tarkov is not just a game, but a huge multiplayer RPG system with a bunch of really complex mechanics. No matter how many opinions there are about Tarkov, like the game is dying, its time has passed. The game is dying so much that online stats on Twitch, YouTube, and discussions on media platforms are only increasing. With each wipe, a decent bunch of players returns, even those who say they hate Tarkov. So, is this game bad or not? But why do they stay up there? You can feel whatever you want about Escape from Tarkov. Whether you love it or hate it, you can't deny the fact that the game is one of the loudest representatives of the shooter genre. Escape from Tarkov sets trends, which are actively picked up by both indie and AAA studios. More often than not, of course, they are expected to fail because despite the problems of the original, parodies simply do not understand what makes Tarkov being Tarkov. Why do you play Tarkov and why do you like it or not? How many hours have you played already? Tell us in the comments. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.